Most travelers come to Switzerland for the Alps, but beyond the famous peaks and panoramic viewpoints, there are valleys hidden between glaciers, villages where trains arrive only a few times a day, lakes that mirror entire mountain ranges, and landscapes so quiet they almost feel unreal. And most visitors never go that far. Switzerland isn't just scenic, it's layered. What people think Switzerland is. When people picture Switzerland, they imagine perfect mountains, alpine trains, and elegant cities. They think of places like the Matterhorn or Lake Geneva. And that version of Switzerland exists. It's real, accessible, and undeniably beautiful. Luxury boutiques line the streets of Zurich and Geneva, their windows displaying precision timepieces and designer goods. Tour groups gather at designated viewpoints, cameras ready, capturing the same iconic angles that have defined Switzerland's image for generations. Cable cars transport thousands daily to mountain summits, where restaurants serve meals with breathtaking views. But the country is shaped by something deeper. Mountains, valleys, and lakes create countless small regions, each with its own character, its own rhythm. And once you move beyond the famous viewpoints, the experience becomes quieter. The crowds thin out dramatically. The landscapes reveal themselves differently. You begin to notice details that the rush of tourism often obscures. The Swiss Alps, the anchor. The Alps define Switzerland. Towering peaks stretch across much of the country, creating a natural barrier that has shaped history, culture, and daily existence for centuries. Glaciers carved the valleys thousands of years ago, grinding through solid rock, leaving behind U-shaped valleys and hanging valleys where waterfalls now cascade. Small villages sit wherever the terrain allows, often perched on sunny slopes or nestled in protected valley floors. Roads and railways weave through narrow passes, engineering marvels that connect communities separated by formidable geography. The mountains shape everything here, from architecture to daily life. Chalets are built with deep overhanging roofs designed to handle heavy snowfall. Farming adapts to steep slopes and short growing seasons. Even the social fabric of mountain communities reflects the reality of living surrounded by such powerful terrain. Winter transforms the landscape completely, blanketing everything in silence. Summer brings wildflowers to alpine meadows, their colors vivid against gray rock and green grass. Lauterbrunnen Valley. In Lauterbrunnen Valley, cliffs rise almost vertically from the valley floor, reaching heights that make the buildings below seem miniature. More than 70 waterfalls fall from the surrounding mountains, some dropping hundreds of meters in a single unbroken stream. The village below feels small beneath such dramatic scenery, its chalets and churches dwarfed by the sheer scale of the landscape. This valley inspired artists and writers for generations, including J.R.R. Tolkien, who found echoes of Rivendell in these mist-filled heights. But early mornings reveal a different side, when the crowds haven't arrived, and the valley feels almost silent. The only sounds are the distant rush of waterfalls and the occasional bell from grazing cattle. Light enters the valley gradually, touching the upper cliffs first, then slowly descending. The mist moves differently at this hour, sometimes filling the entire valley floor, sometimes revealing only fragments of the landscape. Walking through the village then feels like moving through a landscape painting that's still being completed. The scale of everything becomes more apparent without the distraction of crowds. Zermatt and the Matterhorn. Further south lies Zermatt, a mountain village sitting directly beneath the Matterhorn, one of the most perfectly formed peaks in the Alps. Cars are restricted here, banned since the 1960s to preserve the mountain air and the village character. Its distinctive pyramid shape has become synonymous with Switzerland itself, but standing beneath it in person creates a different impression than any photograph. The mountain dominates the horizon from every angle in the village. At sunrise, the peak glows with alpenglow, a phenomenon where snow-covered summits turn shades of pink and orange. The effect lasts only minutes, but those minutes feel suspended, as if the entire valley pauses. Most visitors leave Switzerland thinking they've seen it, but the deeper you explore, the more it changes. If you enjoy discovering destinations beyond the obvious, this channel is built for that. Subscribe to continue exploring places that reward patience and curiosity. Hidden alpine valleys. Beyond the well-known locations, countless alpine valleys remain quietly tucked into the landscape, accessible only by narrow roads or hiking trails. Farms sit between forests and mountain slopes, their pastures carved from terrain that seems too steep for agriculture. Cowbells echo through open meadows, a sound that carries surprising distances in mountain air. Small villages seem almost hidden between peaks, visible only when you round certain bends or crest particular ridges. Here, the pace of life follows the seasons, not tourism. Visiting these areas requires planning. Accommodations are limited, often family-run guest houses rather than hotels. Meals feature local ingredients because importing everything up mountain roads makes little economic sense. But this simplicity creates experiences that feel genuine. Lakeside Switzerland. Switzerland's lakes soften the mountains, creating transitions between dramatic peaks and gentler lowlands. Water reflects entire ridgelines, doubling the visual impact of the landscape. Towns sit comfortably along the shoreline, their architecture often influenced by the proximity to both water and mountains. In places like Lake Lucerne or Lake Brienz, mornings arrive slowly. Mist rises from the water, sometimes obscuring the far shore completely, and the mountains seem to float above it. The color shifts with light in season, sometimes pale mint, sometimes deep jade. Small ferries connect lakeside villages, offering transportation that doubles as sightseeing. These boats move at a measured pace, their routes unchanged for decades. Passengers watch the shoreline unfold. Forested slopes, small harbors, occasional waterfalls descending directly into the lake. Food and alpine tradition. Swiss cuisine reflects the alpine environment, shaped by what could be produced, preserved, and enjoyed at altitude. Cheese remains central to many dishes, developed as a way to preserve milk from summer pastures through the winter months. Fondue and raclette bring people together during colder months, communal meals that turn eating into a social event. Chocolate is produced throughout the country, a tradition that began in the 19th century when Swiss chocolatiers pioneered milk chocolate and conching techniques. Meals here are simple, but deeply rooted in tradition. Rösti, essentially grated potatoes, pan-fried until crispy, appears throughout the German-speaking regions. Portions are substantial, flavors are straightforward, and the setting, often a terrace overlooking valleys or peaks, becomes part of the meal itself. Why travelers are exploring more of Switzerland. Switzerland has long been famous for its scenery, but travelers today often explore beyond the most famous viewpoints, seeking experiences that feel less curated, more discovered. Scenic train routes cross mountain passes, offering perspectives impossible from roads. The Glacier Express, Bernina Express, and Golden Pass Line connect regions through some of the most dramatic terrain in Europe. Hiking trails connect small villages, often following routes established centuries ago for trade or travel between valleys. These trails range from gentle valley walks to challenging alpine routes requiring proper equipment and experience. Instead of rushing between destinations, many visitors stay longer, choosing one valley or lake region and exploring it thoroughly, allowing the landscape to unfold slowly. This approach reveals patterns: how light changes throughout the day, how weather moves through mountain valleys, how communities maintain traditions while adapting to contemporary life. Switzerland rewards this kind of attention. Who this side of Switzerland is for. This side of Switzerland is for travelers who appreciate atmosphere as much as landmarks. For people who enjoy mountain silence, the kind of quiet that feels almost physical after the noise of cities. For those who prefer landscapes over crowds, who find satisfaction in discovering places rather than checking them off lists. If you want dramatic scenery, Switzerland offers it everywhere. But if you want to experience that scenery at your own pace, to spend mornings beside alpine lakes or afternoons in valleys where tourism is secondary to daily life, then Switzerland has another layer entirely. This approach requires flexibility. Weather changes rapidly in mountains, altering plans and perspectives. Trails that seem straightforward can become challenging. But these unpredictabilities are part of the experience, reminders that despite all the infrastructure and precision Switzerland is known for, the landscape itself remains wild. Switzerland isn't just famous mountains. It's hidden valleys where wildflowers bloom in impossible places, quiet lakes that mirror weather patterns, alpine villages where life continues much as it has for generations, and landscapes shaped slowly by ice and time. And once you move beyond the obvious stops, you realize how much more there is. Layers upon layers of terrain and culture. Experiences that reward patience. Landscapes that change with every visit. Subscribe for more journeys beyond the tourist version. What part of Switzerland would you explore first?